Good morning and welcome to Leadership Tip Tuesday with Coach Ellis. Hey, look, today's the day that I kind of talk about leadership principles that I've learned or gleaned over the years, or that I've had the opportunity to have to be in class or someone else expressed to me. And one of the leadership topics today, I want to talk about is leading cross-culturally. Now, what some people say, well, what's really that, Coach? Well, what that is that's leading from the perspective of understanding all the cultures you have to lead from. And someone will say, well, Coach, leadership is leadership. You just do the right thing and everybody will get it. But the truth of the matter is that depending on how you were raised and what culture you come from, the truth, while it might factually be the case, takes on nuances that we often don't consider. One of the great examples I give is the United States military, not too long ago, had this policy about how you can wear your hair. And the policy has something about your hair can only be so thick, a couple of inches thick. Anything over that was considered out of the regulations. And while this was a good standard to have, it did not take into account different cultures. If you look at African American women who wear their hair, an inch and a half, 2 inches, is stretching about the length that they can have, simply because only African American hair stands like that naturally. So it wasn't that it was a bad rule. The intent of the rule was good. The people who did it, their heart was good, but it did not take into account the cultural nuances. Now, that isn't to say that what we say in leadership is wrong. It's just sometimes we have to understand that there are specific rules that apply to different people. Now, you don't lie, cheat, or steal. Don't tolerate those who do. I got it all across the board. There are times when we must take the rule of the law and really look at the intent. Is the intent not to have the hair, or is the intent for the hair to be neat and groomed, etc.? So the idea is that as leaders, if we are used to a certain context, if I'm used to leading people who are quiet and reserved, and I have someone who is louder, I have to lead them a little bit different. The rules don't change, but I have to lead them a little different. I have to express to them a little different. If I lead a bunch of extroverts and I have some introverts that come into the environment, that is a different culture. Culture is not about race and class. It's about upbringing and understanding how the things in their life, their normative predilections, their firm foundations affect them and how they make decisions. If I am not careful, I'll have a one-size-fits-all leadership perspective. And the truth of the matter is, it does not work that way. So leaders, here is what we have to have from our leaders. Is leaders who understand that the rules we apply and the standards we set have to be able to be seen as being fair and equitable to everybody in your environment. Is this easy? No. I'm glad it's not easy, because if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. If leadership was easy, everyone could do it. But you've heard the coach say before, everybody is not built to lead. Some folks are built to follow. So this cross-cultural leadership is really about understanding the nuances of our environments. I had a boss who said, "Hey, you don't have the right to make a mistake, but if you make mistakes, we're not going to string you up by the nearest tree." Now, did he mean anything bad about that? No, a lot of folks laughed. There were certain members of that particular group, African Americans, who were from the South, well, that took on a whole different meaning than those African Americans who were from the Northeast, or even the Northwest, or those non-African Americans who were from the Midwest. It took a whole different connotation. To the Native Americans in the group, it had another connotation about stringing people up. And so while this leader did not intend to offend, African Americans and Native Americans in particular had a whole different perspective of what he said, while most everyone else felt he was simply saying, "Hey, we're not going to shoot you. We're not going to kill you. It's not like you can never recover from making a mistake." But it was a very hurtful statement to Native Americans and African Americans. The point being that it wasn't his intent. And as a leader, he did not recognize the nuances of the environment in which he was in. So, only thing I'm suggesting, leaders, is that if you're going to lead, and you are going to lead because the world needs your leadership, you lead from the idea of understanding that cross-culturally there are nuances to everything you say, and you must consider what you say and how it be heard. Leadership is no longer about you saying things and people listening. You, as a leader, have a responsibility for not just what you say, but how the people take it. Otherwise, you're just talking and not really leading. I'm Coach Ellis, and this has been Leadership Tip Tuesday. Remember, when you lead cross-culturally, be careful what you say, because you're responsible for not just what you say, but what they hear. You can reach me at coach@elliscrum.net or reach me at Coach Ellis on Facebook. Until next week, have a one-tabulous Leadership Day. Bye-bye.